Hello everybody and welcome to the next installment of my reviews and thoughts on Games Workshop's latest reveal show. So today was their third installment in what should have been their Adepticon reveal show, where they would have basically gone through all the reveals of what we would be seeing today. So to be honest, I want to say how amazing this reveal was. It was absolutely fantastic. It was everything that I'd hoped last week's or the one previous should have been. We saw some really big reveals, some really cool models and some kits and some really nice information. So I was very, very stoked by the end of this show today, and I think you probably will be as well. So without further ado, what we'll do is we'll just go straight into the actual kind of individual elements of what they've revealed, and you'll hear my thoughts and everything at the very end. So let's crack into it. So the first reveal, and quite possibly the biggest, pun intended, for me certainly, was the reveal of their new Gargan models for Age of Sigmar, the new Sons of Behemoth. And these things are absolutely huge in comparison scale to the current Gargant that is out there, the Elgosla Gargant, which you'll see a comparison of size-wise on the screen. These kits are absolutely ginormous and are almost kind of the scale. I'd probably be tempted to say that this kind of scale of an Imperial Knight Titan for 40k. Absolutely brimming with character and details. There's 3 variant sculpts from the kit on this one. You can basically make yourself a War Stomper Gargant, a Gatebreaker Gargant, or a Kraken Eater Gargant, which I've kind of put them respectively on the pictures. Absolutely tons of really cool stuff on each of the builds on these ones. I imagine that they all do something slightly differently. You've probably got a little bit of an all-rounder in the War Stomper. I imagine the Gatebreaker is great for kind of killing hordes and infantry, things like that. And your Kraken Eater is more than likely going to be something that which is specifically kind of tooled up to deal with monsters in particular. So that's a guess at the very least. Anyway, there's no kind of concrete information on that that I've seen yet, but I absolutely love these models. I'm definitely going to be picking one of these guys up to go with my Ogre Kingdoms, my Beastclaw Raiders, my Ogres, just for a centerpiece model, because they are absolutely stunning. I cannot wait to get my hands on this kit. Everything I was kind of hoping for with the release, and really, really looking forward to getting them on the table. From Age of Sigmar, we jumped across into the dark depths of the Blackstone Fortress to Precipice with a new expansion, the final expansion for this game. So named Ascension. This is kind of the end marker really to the current kind of story arc to this box set game. And it basically comes with a host of new models in there. So we've got 2 new threats for the rogue traders to fight off against. Spindle drones, basically fairly large versions of the ones that are already included in the game. These are known as Guardians. Apparently, sizing-wise, these will be in comparison to a Dreadnought, so these things are going to be massive in comparison to some of the stuff that already comes in the box set. Neat little thing. I do quite like Blackstone Fortress. I haven't, unfortunately, had an opportunity to play the game, but I have been keeping an eye on it, and it does look quite nice. Loads of kind of cool little bits and pieces about the game, and it's something that I'm hoping to get into in the near future. As I've said, this is going to be the end of this particular kind of line for this particular game, so there'll probably be something coming out later on in the pipeline, which will kind of be another story based around the kind of hero quest mechanics, things like that, but obviously maybe even setting a different kind of background setting. So there'll be something to look forward to. Really like this kind of release on that one. Really nice set of models in there. Swinging back into the Mortal Realms with Age of Sigmar's Warcry game, we had quite an unexpected reveal of an entirely new faction, and this time not even something chaos related, as has been the norm with most of the other specific factions created for this game. We had the K-Knight Shadowstalkers revealed, a Elven faction, kind of specifically designed around kind of worship of Marathi, and kind of hailing from the realm of Ulgu, the realm of Shadow. 3 models were revealed with the promise of more to come. This is just being a little teaser, but the models themselves were absolutely stunning, absolutely chock full of kind of character, very kind of getting a lot of kind of old world dark elf vibes, a lot of assassin vibes from these guys. The way that they kind of molded this the capes to almost look like they're kind of melding with shadows and things like that is absolutely fantastic. It's really nice to see little nods to the older style of dark elves on some of the models as well. The inclusion of things like the double hand crossbows on one of the models, giving the faction some ranged capabilities, because that's not generally something you see a lot of in Warcry. It's going to be quite interesting how they mix that up as well, along with how the mechanics are going to work for their actual kind of cloak and how they can use the shadows to their fullest potential. So this is going to be really kind of something cool to have a look at, and it really does open up some really nice kind of avenues as well, because we hopefully might start to see some other factions and things like that that aren't particularly chaos, but are kind of specifically only for this game or something like that, where we only see like little bits and pieces, much like what we do in Shadespire. You saw really cool little bits and pieces of units that kind of branches off from the main armies from Age of Sigmar, but allow us to kind of explore some of the bits and pieces that we probably wouldn't see in some of the larger style of armies. So this got me really excited. This is one of my favourites, along with the Gargan release or reveal. This is one of my favourite reveals of the entire show. So really looking forward to this. So keeping on the Elven theme, we also got a quick reveal of a new model for the Luna Realm Lords, the new Elven faction that's going to be released shortly for the Age of Sigmar. And this is a new mage model called a Sinari Calfala. Probably mispronounced that quite horrifically, but we'll wait and see how that's pronounced properly when it gets a bit more circulated. Really like the aesthetic on this one. Basically, it kind of eschews all kind of armor and weaponry in favor of just kind of flowing robes and plumes of smoke, veils, things like that. So it's quite different from what we've seen so far. We also got a little bit of a kind of idea of one of the abilities that she's going to have, in that she will essentially be able to force enemy units to take battle shock tests on behalf of the Lumineth units. So I imagine how this would work is that any basically battle shock tests that an elf is forced to take, she could then pass that along to an enemy unit, and then they would suffer damage as well, or instead of. Until we get a few more rules on that one, I can't get a bit of an idea of how that works. But that's a really quite nice little reveal on that one. That's going to be quite an interesting one to see on the tabletop. So, keeping on the fantasy theme, we had a new reveal of an entirely new team for Blood Bowl, the Snarlings. So, what I mistakenly take at first to be an army of goblins, it actually reveals that they're actually an even runtier team, the actual Snarlings. So, this was an absolutely fantastic army that got revealed, or team rather. Apparently, if you want to basically dial the hardness of playing Blood Bowl up to 11, basically this is the team for you. If you really want to have to work for that victory, then you look no further. Absolutely fantastic plastic models on this one, really full of character. Guys running around the place wearing socks, tripping over each other, and what's not to love about that pump wagon? That thing is absolutely brilliant. It really harkens back to the old pump wagon models that used to be around back in the days of the old world Warhammer. Really, really fun, really characterful, and an absolute beast apparently on the tabletop. Apparently strength 5 with Juggernaut and Mighty Blow. This thing will basically pound people into the floor. By all accounts, from what they were mentioning on the live stream, that this thing is going to basically get sent off for fouls and all sorts of stuff straight away. So basically aim it at your opponents, really kind of high ranking nasty models, things like that, and just watch them get ploughed into the ground. Looks like the Flintstones mobile on meth. It looks absolutely fantastic. I love it. Along with that, we've got some really cool kind of characterful other units along with the linemen as well. We've got things like the fungus flingers, so guys throwing out big big lumps of fungus mold and all sorts of stuff. We've got a guy hopping on one. The actual fungus itself is actually really kind of cool and characterful, with eyes kind of looking around like not sure what's going on. It's really quite nice. We've got a little reveal that these guys will have the swarming rule as well, which will allow them to really kind of pile in and do some damage on people. So they may be able to easily take out, but in numbers these guys should pose a few issues for some teams. And back into the nightmare future of the 31st millennium this time, actually, with a new figure for Horus heresy. And this is actually one that is really kind of close to me, my heart. Not that I actually collect any Horus heresy or anything like that. It's always been a little bit out of my kind of price range, unfortunately. But this is one of the characters that I've really enjoyed reading about the most when I've been reading the Horus heresy novels. This is Saul Tarvitz. This is the Emperor's Children captain, who was responsible for kind of dragging Horus and his traitor Primarchs into a ground war on Earthspan 3, and basically giving Captain Garrow and the Eisenstein time to get back to Terra to forewarn the Emperor and the rest of the Imperium of Horus's treachery. And when you're reading these novels in Fulgrim and in Flight of the Eisenstein, and the other one, the Galaxy in Flames, sorry, it's been a while since I've read it. You really kind of see what a cool guy this guy is. He's an absolute kind of boss, and manages to even defeat Lucius the Eternal in a hand duel as well. So he's absolutely cool. Really nice model, armed with a signature double-handed power sword called the Charnabal Broadsword. Really nice. He's got a sniper bolt rifle on there as well, and would be a really nice kind of characterful captain to have leading any loyalist Emperor's Children that you might have on there as well. And then actually into the nightmare future of the 41st millennium, we had a nice big reveal for the next, or one of the next Psychic Awakening books, the very last one in the series, Pariah. And some quite nice acknowledgements and confirmations of a few rumors and everything in there as well. So they must have heard some of the chuntering that was going on from myself on the last reveal show that I did. And we got a really cool video at first, kind of highlighting the return or the awakening of a Necron tomb world, and the forces of the Imperium kind of rallying to put an end to it. We can see the two figures that were revealed last time from the Demonufuge range, and also a new character as well, or slightly new, in that this is actually the Inquisitor that has kind of been around in the narrative for the Psychic Awakening since the inception, really, of this particular kind of line of books. She is Inquisitor Draxos, so she's a new Xenos radical Inquisitor, and who will be getting a new model. And first up, we're going to have a quick look at the other new model, or one of the other new models that's going to be coming with this particular book. And this is a brand new model for Illuminator Zeros, a Necron character who's previously had a model in Finecast, but now he's kind of like been reborn in plastic, and oh my goodness, is he so much better for it. This guy is absolutely huge by the looks of it. I absolutely love this model. You can basically see him there absolutely kind of ripping somebody apart with a Gauss weapon, basically reducing him to his constituent atoms and basically drawing on his life force for some other reason, some kind of nefarious kind of reason. Obviously, the Necrons have woke up a little bit annoyed seeing all this psychic shenanigans going on around, and have understandably wanted to put an end to it. And so this is what he's been working on there. And to kind of get a bit of a hint of that, we actually saw a new rule as well called Empiric Overcharger. And this is specifically for this guy. Essentially, he can actually cause enemy psychers to perils on any double whilst they're within 9 inches of him, which is quite a nasty little ability, particularly with some of the kind of big psychic builds around, with things like Grey Knights, Thousand Sons, Eldar, So that's quite a nice little thing. And whether that's going to be extended, whether we're going to see more stratagems and bits and pieces like that to kind of tie that in with the pariah theme, so that it can go a bit more army wide, that'll be something to have a little look at. The other new model that we saw, as is mentioned, is Inquisitor Draxus. She is an absolute boss looking model. I absolutely love this model. Everything about it, from the fact that we don't really see a great deal of Xenos Inquisitors sometimes. We also tend to see the Malleus or the Hereticus ones with the big wide-brimmed hats. It was really quite cool to see something different, something that we hadn't really seen before, armed with an Eldari splinter gun. Splinter cannon, which has obviously been sanctioned because we've seen a purity seal on it, so that makes it okay. Big skull on shoulder, looks like something from the Drukhari, and wearing possibly one of the coolest sets of power armor I ever witnessed. I love the kind of the Baroque feel of this one, the kind of hard-edged lines, the way that it's completely different, really, almost from what we've seen on things like Space Marines or the Adeptus Sororitas. It's almost as if basically the Drukhari decided to kind of have a go at designing their own set of power armor. Really enjoyed seeing this one. It almost looks as if it's the character from Doctor Strange as well. I can't remember the name of her. The big head mage. I think it's Tara Swinton, I think her name is, that played her. Yeah, it just looks like her in power armor, which is always a cool thing. I think that's quite a cool idea. So yeah, really had me frothing at the mouth of this one. I'm really looking forward to this next book. And also, kind of like I said, that they kind of confirmed that the Necrons are kind of playing around a little bit with the pariah bits and pieces. So that is going to be quite a nice one to have a little look at. And then to round out the kind of reveals, almost, was another Storyforge reveal of another new kind of animation style for a forthcoming episode of Hammer and Bolter. This one basically being the second episode, focusing around a pair of Sisters of Battle. So we saw again a very different style of animation to what we've seen on some of the other ones. A little less anime-ish. A little bit more kind of westernized animation on this one. So character design's pretty cool. We've got a character called Sister Agatha, and who's the kind of squad leader in charge. And then we've got Sister Alera, the younger, kind of hot-headed kind of member of the party. So it was quite nice to see. Apparently, they have said that the series will run a little bit like the Netflix show Love, Death and Robots, in that it will be kind of different to episode. There's not going to be that very many that are kind of the same thing kind of going over and over. And the last little kind of tidbit that we got from this reveal show was the way that we can order the new Terminator Librarian figure that was meant to be kind of exclusive to shows, and Adepticon in particular. We're now going to be able to order this over the website for the next 2 weeks as a made-to-order figure, along with this little pretty thing, a new Sisters of Battle miniature. Based on a piece of artwork from the last kind of codex that they got, the beta codex. Really nice little sculpt, this one, really full of character. Really like both of these ones, so tempted by that Terminator guy just to go with my Deathwing. Would be a nice little addition, I think, on that one as well. So both of these can be ordered through the website. And as I said, are made to order. So basically, there's a time limit on these of 2 weeks. They won't be shipping for a while yet, until everything kind of gets back into normality. They've said that the Sister of Battle won't be shipping till much later in the year, but they'll let everybody know about that as soon as that kind of happens. And there we have it, guys. They were the reveals for this third reveal show. So I have to say, I was very, very much impressed by this show, by this reveal. I thought that this was everything that last week's wasn't. We saw some really cool bits and pieces, some kind of confirmations of things that we were kind of hoping, some really nice models coming up. It was really nice to finally see some of the Gargant miniatures that were coming up, and those little teasers kind of showing us first off some information on the Battle Tome, and then finally kind of putting us out of our misery and showing us some of the models tonight. Absolutely fantastic models. Possibly my favorite thing that got revealed today were those Gargant miniatures. I'm definitely, like I said earlier, I'm going to be picking some of those guys up to go with my ogres and my little kind of Iron Jaws army that I've got. Now, as to which one I build, now we'll have to wait and see what the rules are going to be like. But I'm kind of leaning towards the war, the war one, the War Stomper, the kind of all-rounder. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if the other ones kind of pip it at being a better choice. So, if you've basically got ideas on what you'd like to build yours as that, obviously drop a comment on the bottom, and I'd be very interested to see what you guys make of it as well. Other ones for me, loved the Dark Elf miniatures that are going to be coming out. I know a friend of mine, Andy's going to be very excited, and we'll be picking these guys up, not only play with Warcry, but when the ensuing rules come out for Age of Sigmar, he'll be picking these guys up for his Daughters of Cain force, and he's very much looking forward to kind of getting some extra guys into his army on there as well. And then obviously the other biggie as well was the 40k kind of releases or reveals as well. The new Inquisitor and the Necron model. That Necron model is absolutely stunning. I love that. That is kind of everything that is creepy and just a little bit kind of otherworldly that I like about the Necrons. Kind of harkens back a little bit to like the really old style before they kind of got a lot of their kind of character. Before they were like kind of like space Egyptian type thing back in the 3rd edition codex or 4th edition codex, whichever it was, but their very first codex, when they were kind of like the mysterious alien invaders just kind of disappearing. I kind of got a bit of vibe. Really enjoyed that, particularly from the animation as well, and from a narrative standpoint, from what they've kind of been hinting at in that reveal trailer as well. This looks as if it's something quite stupendous or quite momentous that's going to be kind of kicking off with this. So what comes after these Psychic Awakening books would be very interesting to see, particularly as we've got quite a lot of Imperial factions kind of all grouping together to fight the Necrons on this one. Definitely going to be interesting to see where that one goes. And so that was it. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what is going to be coming in the future. They've said that this is going to be the last of the reveals for this month. So whether we see something again in May, that will be quite interesting to see. So I'm quite interested to see what you guys think. Obviously, drop your thoughts, your comments, and things like that down in the comments below. Thank you very much for kind of sticking with my ramblings, my name drivel. I hope you've enjoyed the show. And again, if you liked the video, please like. If you like the channel, if you want to see more cool stuff like this, please subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the future. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.